Welcome everyone. I hope you're all having an excellent day. In today's analysis, we're going to be getting into the Bitcoin charts as usual, also taking a look at Chainlink and Ethereum. I'm going to share with you my thoughts on the lower time frames, the higher time frames, go through some of the critical regions on the charts, take a look at some of the momentum oscillators here, as they are going to be very important for price action on the lower time frames. As you guys know, I don't like to waste any time, so let's get right into this analysis here. Starting off on the one-day time frame, price action did come back to our target here off the monthly pivot, the key region that we were watching for price action, the first key support region. And really over the past 2 days, as you can see, price action has stopped exactly at this point. And I discussed this being at the very least a scalp opportunity for a very short-term trade, and we did get quite a nice bounce off about 2% from here. So bouncing up about 2.1%, which is quite nice here on the very low time frames. And now it is going to be really important to actually be watching for this price action and where it does sit, because we have not seen a big reaction from this region, at least thus far. And that is why I also spoke about a reclaim of the weekly pivot being a very safe bet compared to the monthly pivot, as you know, holding those positions. You can potentially be looking to take some profits on the bounces, of course, and then looking to add above the weekly pivot. At least that's what I would be doing. And taking a look at the highs right here from the 1st of August when we did, top out, that is a region of interest for me that we spoke about yesterday. So this channel was very interesting because, of course, this was holding the lower highs, and therefore we could be looking for range trades here. As you know, this is rejection from the top of the range and then bouncing from the median. That was also in confluence with the monthly pivot. All these bounces have been from the monthly pivot. So we literally got, about 3 opportunities for scalp positions on the monthly pivot, and taking profits inside of the range is overall very good. But what I would be looking at now is either a reclaim of the weekly pivot, or, because we are below the weekly pivot right now, at the very least this test down to the S1. So right now we do see, the 4-hour stochastic trying to cross the upside, but it did get rejected straight away. So I would really like to see the weekly S1 here, as that would also be down where our liquidity is here from the 27th of July. Does not mean that the monthly pivot is just going to break and we're miraculously going to get straight there. But as far as the price action goes right now on the very low time frames and with the data that we do have, that is kind of where I am watching at the moment. So either a reclaim of the weekly pivot is when I'd start to get interested in another long position, or down here at the S1 and closing some short positions at the S1 as well. I think that's, it would be unlike Bitcoin not to come for this liquidity, at least with the way that everything is looking right now. I mean, by the time I upload this video, if we do see some buy pressure come in and the stochastic does cross back to the upside with low time frame resistance, such as a 15-minute daily pivot reclaimed, then I would get interested in potentially more long positions. So the daily pivot at the moment is $38,494, and then that would start to look much better. But overall, as you can see, I'm not looking to kind of overtrade this exact area where we are at. We got our first, second, and third tests of the monthly pivot. That was overall very good. Going on to our high time frame regions, we know that we hit those high time frame resistance points back from May 2021 and also January 2021. So the trades have been there, but with this current range that we're in right now, best to not overtrade it, and best to just keep it, the best trades you can possibly get with the lowest risk here. So the next area will be down here at the S1, the absolute key support. And what is interesting about the S1 is, of course, going to be here that our monthly profile levels that we spoke about is going to be here. So the value area high is right below the S1, which just adds much more importance to this region for me at $35,853. That is going to be the 1 day. And of course, getting acceptance back below there, then we can look for the upper point of control and the lower point of control. But right now we have not seen that. So I think that it is a nice area because it gives more confluence to these to these lows here, taking out that liquidity, testing both of these regions. Whereas the general target after closing below the weekly pivot is going to be down at the S1. You're going to see profit takers, counter traders come in. So everything just does line up very nicely here for me. And that's the next region that I'm watching. We got our nice bounce from the monthly pivot, and now this is the next region. And if you want a more detailed explanation on all of these levels and why I am actually looking at these the way I'm looking at them, you can go ahead and check out yesterday's video or even the day before that, because we've spoken about mainly the same things here. So definitely keep an eye on the 4-hour stochastic here and on those lower time frame resistance points. But as long as this is down here, then I would be looking for that test. Now let's move on to the Chainlink USD charts. This is going to be an extremely short video, it seems, but that is fine. So Chainlink USD got that nice bounce from our key support region. Why is this a key support region? Because it was actually resistance back on the 7th of July. So let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. On the 7th of July, we did have a rejection from here. And so we were looking at this as a key resistance. Once price action breaks that resistance, you look for a resistance support flip, and that resistance support flip is very simple technical analysis here, not looking at anything else. That's going to be support. Therefore, once price action does retest it, you can look for that long position, which did end up giving us about a 15% move up with stop loss below. Now, we already discussed this yesterday. I did say that since we had rejected from the R1, I would be looking at the weekly pivot, and to be fair, we did not hit that region, but that is ultimately because we did hold the market structure. So right here, you hold the market structure, and that is another nice bounce to the upside. So Chainlink USD holding these higher lows. So for the pivot to really happen here, we would have to break this market structure. So what is a higher low? It is basically still a bullish market structure. So even from down here, you can see consecutively we have set in higher highs and higher lows, giving us the bullish market structure. And even on this dip here, you can see how close we are getting to these higher lows, but we're ultimately not breaking them. So that is overall good. But if we do break the higher low structure here, then I'd be looking at the weekly pivot. We do have quite a nice channel going on for Chainlink as well. Something like that. We can actually do this a little bit better. Okay, so right here, we can see a little bit of a channel. Now you could be pulling this all the way down. All the way down here, and overall that does look good. So I do like that. That is going to be a rising channel. You could be looking at it as I simply do not trade patterns, but there is high probabilities of breaking to the downside in a rising channel if you are a pattern trader. But overall, I'd be trading this range, and if I had seen this yesterday, I definitely would have spoke about it. But yeah, so this is a nice range overall. And the next resistance for me, the absolute key resistance, is still going to be at 26.08. So it has slowly moved down because the average short positions are forced moving down. This is the anchored VWAP from our all-time highs. That is just such a key resistance that price action needs to get above. As long as we are below there, we are simply reaching high time frame resistance, and therefore that means that we need to be a little bit careful as we do reach that R2 in confluence with the anchored VWAP from the highs. Now let's move on to Ethereum USD. This has been making some nice moves indeed, coming back to the weekly pivot, and of course now holding that weekly pivot here. So this did slightly break, the last high low that we set in. Obviously, we've really been trying to bounce off the weekly pivot. About 2.9% has been the bounce overall, but it's basically looking like Bitcoin. It's just holding the lows on support and just bouncing on support. So it is really up to the bulls here for them to step in, or else the buys will dry up on support, and then we will see a further move down. What you really want to see is kind of a move like this. As we were moving to the upside, I discussed that right here would be a higher low area, and it looked really good for a higher low. We did see a bullish engulfing candle, or just bullish candles in general, come into the market after that, and you saw volume and also conviction by the bulls come in, as shown by very simply the candlestick formations, and not looking at anything else. When we are coming back to support here after after this kind of really nice move down, we are not seeing, at least right now, at least at this exact time, we are not seeing a nice reaction. So therefore, the bulls will need to come in soon, maybe into nice price action, or else we will be looking at this to come down a little bit lower. And of course, you know, where is going to be that little bit of a lower area? It is going to be really, for me, still 2,411, because that is a 7th of July highs that we broke out of. So I still see this as an important zone for Ethereum. And breaking that, then we could look at lower targets such as the S1. But right now, that's still a key important level for me. It's actually where we rejected once again on the 27th of July as well. So that's what I'd be looking at. Very short video, guys. I've been very busy the past few days with some IRL stuff, of course, and I'm trying to get these videos out to stay consistent for you all. So I hope that you enjoy it, and if you do, go ahead and leave a like. If you don't, go ahead and leave a dislike, and I will catch you guys in tomorrow's one.